Well, hey there. We are live. The Musical Expeditionaries are back. Did you miss us? It's been a little bit of a break here and almost a little more of a break here. We've had some technical issues here. Steve tells me there is an electromagnetic pulse in the universe tonight that might be wreaking some havoc. Steve, we'll chalk it up to that, man, but glad to see you again.
Yeah, I think it's from the planet Krypton. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
No, I saw something. I don't know what it was. Anyway, it came across my feed, news feed, something about a pulse. Who knows? But anyway, I'll believe anything these days with everything going on in the world. But yeah, we're doing the best we can. We may have some technical difficulties. We're trying to bring our guests back in. They're switching their medium as far as what they're going to be connecting with, and we'll do the best we can, but we just and it may be a really short show, but we'll just do the best we can and kind of fill everybody in, try to on what's been going on, what's happening. I mean, there's so much to talk about, but we certainly don't want to have issues where it's frustrating to
Right.
hear every word. So we'll see how we go. It's showbiz, right?
That's right. Well, first of all, if anybody was following our social media this week or following my social media, they would see that we had a chance to connect earlier in the week in Nashville, and it was good to see you in person again.
It was really cool to see you in person there, and we had a nice, short but nice visit. I'm looking forward to the days when everybody's kind of a little more settled in, and we can spend some good time together. But everybody's kind of doing their thing, and um, lots of great opportunities, lots of cool things happening, and everybody, each of our collective lives, and all that kind of comes together to further the vision and the mission that we embarked upon, several years ago when we first all got together. So a lot of things we can't really divulge right now because they're in the works, and I know we don't want to jinx them, but
Right.
enjoyed seeing you, and we had a nice dinner with Tommy Snyder from American Country Network, and at a really cool little place, and got to visit. So
Yes, you got a little time on Music Row here, so you got a chance to soak in what's left of the the Music City vibe here. Anyway,
oh, it was really cool. Uh, I had never spent any time down there, just kind of driven through there. And of course, I was staying at a hotel right in the heart of Music Row, and we got to drive around a little bit. Tommy drove me around, and Kurt had already driven me around once before and shown me some of the more historic places and the places that he had worked, and places where people like Elvis and Johnny Cash and all those guys recorded. Reba Reba McEntire has a palatial building down there
yeah,
on Music Row, and so that was really cool. And then we got to go to a songwriters thing on what night was that? Monday night, I guess, or Sunday night. Sunday night.
yeah, Sunday.
Yeah, I have a hard time getting my bearings straight. Sunday night. It was hosted by a guy named Jerry Foster, and I really never heard of Jerry Foster. Shame on me, because I know that when I started looking at all the songs that this guy had written, most of them I love. I've talked a lot about like Jerry Lee Lewis's Killer Country album being maybe my favorite country album of all times.
Right.
And Jerry Foster probably has credits on about 6 or 7 songs on that album.
Yeah,
So,
what an album.
oh man, yeah. Foster wrote stuff like 39 and Holding.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, and I have to pull up the list, and I will here in a few minutes. But and then all these other songs, according to what I can tell, he's one of the, if not the most decorated and awarded artists on ASCAP. So pretty
Yeah.
interesting.
Well, he's a guy we'll have to put on the list to get here on the show one of these days, because I think it'll be fun to pick his brain a little bit.
Yeah, we're going to need a lot of time because he loves to talk. I mean, there's a guy, he's 88 years old, Brent, and he has a ton of energy. In fact,
Right.
we were in there for about 2.5 hours. Tommy Snyder got to get up and do a couple of songs with Jerry, and Jerry introduced Tommy as one of his new close friends, and called him one of his foster children. The name Foster. And then later I said, no, you're one of Jerry's kids.
You'd have to be kind of old to get that reference now. It's starting to get a little dated.
But we can talk more about that later. There was Tommy got to get up and do a couple of songs that he had written, and Tommy had not performed live in quite a while, and I was blown away. He was really good, and we had some other folks get up there and do some stuff, and that was right there at the Commodore at the Holiday Inn. So next time I stay on Music Row, I think I'm going to stay there because that's a happening place.
Yeah, absolutely. They hold a lot of great songwriter rounds there, and if you hang around there, you can really catch a lot of the true flavor of the traditional country music anyway here that's still going on in Nashville. You're not hearing about as much as the mainstream, but some great storytellers, really. The kind we like, the storytellers.
Well, some legendary people, and speaking of legendary, we got some future legends sitting here.
That's right.
Just came in. They're legends in their own minds. No. So we got Evie Mae and Braden Ryle. So
what's going on for y'all?
Good. How y'all doing?
Good.
We're doing good.
I just saw you in person this morning. It's
yeah, you sure did.
Crazy, but that's awesome. And Evie, I've been to Nashville, I think or Clarksville a couple of times since you moved there, but I never see you. You're busy. You hit the ground running and got a job, and
Yeah.
So how are you liking Clarksville?
I like it a lot. There's so much more to do than in Jasper.
Really?
Yeah. Much more to do. We don't just go to Walmart now for fun.
Well, is Walmart the social hub of Jasper?
Oh yeah, you have whole reunions at Walmart in Jasper.
And weddings, probably.
Probably. Wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. Any Walmart you go to in any town, no matter what the size, it always amazes me how that parking lot's at least 7. In fact, the smaller the town, the fuller the parking lot, it seems.
Oh yeah.
There's not a whole lot of other choices. The sad thing is those Walmarts come in and they kind of run the little mom and pop businesses out of business,
Yeah.
But anyway, well, we're glad you're in Clarksville because that means you're a lot closer to the action and to the studio. And I know that you've been working with Kurt on some songwriting, and of course I know Braden, you're always working on new songs, and you guys are becoming really good songwriters, and so
yeah,
honing your craft there, and that's great.
We're picking at it, so I mean we've worked on a couple of good songs that we've written, and just a little tweaks, but I mean other than that, I mean they're pretty good songs, and we're still working, so I mean always room for improvement.
I brought a song in this time, and it was I thought the lyrics were pretty good, and we didn't do a whole lot to the lyrics, but my knowledge of chords is so limited. That's the weakest part of my whole deal is my guitar chops, and I just haven't spent the time to really to improve upon that. So I'm pretty much not too far beyond the basic chord, open chords and a few bar chords, and sometimes those sound like a train coupling, but it was really interesting, and I think we probably need to capture this on maybe one of the episodes of the TV show, because I had this song and I played it for your dad and for Kurt, and he goes, that's a good song. I like those lyrics, and we might want to kind of whittle on those lyrics a little bit. He goes, but the melody, Steve, he goes, it's great if you're living in 1958. Let's get to the 21st century here. And your dad pulled out a guitar and just, you know how he is. He just pulled the guitar out and just started. I mean, right off the bat, just came up with a whole different melody for that song and just totally transformed it.
Yeah.
And I was just, it never ceases to amaze me. And of course, I'm going, what chord is that? What are you doing? But so that's cool. So I said, well, from now on, I'll just be words and you'll be music or whatever,
Yeah, Dad always has a way of making you feel old, Steve. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Every time you're around him, it's just same old.
He tries to make me feel inferior, but
I know. It gets to me sometimes. He does the same thing to me.
Well, we need to gang up on him next.
We do. We sure do. But he writes some good melodies, though. That's for sure. So we might need to keep him around.
Yeah. So, and I know Evie, you've learned a lot from Kurt, and part of learning on the songwriting process. Tommy Snyder and I were talking the other day, and I said, have you ever written a really good song and then you took it to somebody and you're excited and they just kind of deflate you? And Tommy said, man, he goes, you're not a good songwriter until somebody, at least one person, has hurt your feelings.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm like, well, Kurt hurts my feelings all the time, but that's okay because it's in the interest of growth. That's why I call it growing pains, right?
Growing pains. There you go. Yeah. But
Well,
how's it, Steve? Is it hot over there?
Oh, it's hot. Yeah, I don't know what the temperature is right now, but I got off the plane and it was not as humid as it is there in Tennessee.
Right.
I'll look up the weather. Brent, you were going to say something?
No, I was going to say, I understand Evie has been working to put together a band and starting to test the waters a little bit around Clarksville.
Well, me and Braden actually, we're going to put a band together with my dad and then Kurt and then Braden and then some other guys too. But I had my first show down in Clarksville this past weekend, actually.
Nice.
Me and
How
Dad
did that go?
music show.
How'd that go?
It was really good, honestly. It was a smaller crowd, but they were all like super into it. Like they were really engaging crowd. So honestly, sometimes those are more fun than a big crowd.
And was that the VFW?
The American Legion.
American Legion. The VFW, Kurt and I went into that VFW way back months ago because we were going to scout out some live music venues that we could go and play. And what we realized real quickly is that every place that offers live music, it seemed like also was heavy smoking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was nice at the American Legion. It was non-smoking. And it was really nice inside. Like, they had it decorated really well.
Acoustics were pretty good.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Good. So you picked, are these local, I guess they have to be local guys that you picked. How did you find these guys, these band members?
That's all Kurt. Kurt's done all of that, so.
Yeah, I heard they're going to stick me back there on the drums.
Oh,
I heard they're going to call me, I'm the next Don Henley.
No.
You better be careful. I'll be
singing. Or Phil Collins, Don Henley or Phil Collins, they're not only good drummers, but they sing while they play too. And that's cool.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I'll be a singer drummer.
I used to play drums in a praise band, and I would sing. And every time I'd sing, the band leader, who was a lot like your dad, he'd just come put a metronome in front of me and then walk.
Well, you know what it is, Steve? I think I'm just too pretty for Dad and Evie, so they want me to go back there and stick me in the back. You know what I mean?
I don't think that's what it is.
They're trying to get at me, so they want me in the back.
Well, that haircut makes you look, there's an ID. I was at the desk that you're sitting at right now, and if you open that drawer.
Oh my God, yes, I was showing Braden before we started.
Yeah, that's what Braden looks like today with that new haircut.
Yeah, it's because Dad's jealous of me. You know what I mean? Because I look so beautiful. He shows an ugly picture to everybody. That's what it is.
You sound like you're the Muhammad Ali of country music. I'm so pretty. I'm so pretty.
Always Dad.
I can go 10 rounds with George Foreman, and I'm still pretty. Yeah.
That's right.
So, but are you happy with your band so far? I mean, is y'all sounding pretty good?
We haven't had any practices or anything yet. We're still like in the very beginning of making this. So.
Well, you played a show, so you had to.
Well, me and Dad played acoustic.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So you haven't broken out the real band yet?
Not yet, no.
Okay. Well, that'll be great because look, I'll be coming through there, and it'll be nice to have a band that we can go out and just work out some new material, or just get out and blow off some steam, or have some fun, and we'll just stick Braden on the drums.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm excited for a full band. Playing acoustic shows for so long, they kind of get boring after a while, and full band just brings a whole new life to it. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's fun to have a full band behind you. I'm right now trying to get this new band that I put together going, and we've got a show coming up on the 16th, and ticket sales are really slow, but I know they're going to pick up. I always get nervous about that. But these guys are good players. They're all pretty seasoned players, and they all now make up this the house band for the Cook County Cowboy Church up in Gainesville. So we get to rehearse up there, and that's cool. So when we get that band really cranking, we'll get y'all back down to Fort Worth and do another fun deal down here as well.
Sounds good. Sounds like a plan.
So what are preparations for that concert looking like? And we can hit this at the end of the show too. But for folks who are listening, how do they go about getting their tickets?
Well, the easiest way I know is to go to eventbrite.com, and just punch in my name. Just do a search on my name, and that show will come up. It'll Steve Markward and the A-List Band featuring Carl Vaughn. Carl Vaughn's gonna be. He's kind of the guy that put my band together. These are all guys he plays with. And Carl's an old troubadour from way back. He had a major record deal with Monument Records back in the '60s and '70s, and he's got some. Still got a great voice. I mean, he sounds a lot like Ray Price.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun. But ticket sales, I'm sure, will pick up. I remember the last concert we did, about probably 70% of the tickets were sold in the last couple of weeks leading up to the show. So, I just told people, I said, just bring a bunch of people and let's pack the house,
Yeah. There's no such thing as a bad night at National Hall too.
No, I don't think so. But I want the band, the bigger the crowd, the better the energy, and so and as musicians and performers, we all play off of that. It lifts
Right.
you up, not that, I mean, heck, I'll play and sing all night, but it's a heck of a lot more fun to play and sing to a packed house than it is 2 or 3 people.
Right.
But that's all part of paying your dues, I guess. You no matter what show goes on. So,
right.
But,
That's right.
But I think we'll do well. We've got the usual people that buy big tables, like sponsors and people like that, haven't stepped up yet, and they will. So I just want to. I got this band, and the main reason I put this band together is so we can stay together. I don't have to reinvent the wheel every time we do another concert, and I can start doing regular concerts there, and we can truly make this the venue in Fort Worth for Clarksville Creative Sound. And you guys can, Braden, you and Evie, and y'all can all come down whenever you want and jump on the deal and have fun, because Fort Worth is, it's like y'all saw it. I mean, Fort Worth's a happening place.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, every time I've been to Fort Worth and National Hall, I've always had a good time. You know what I mean? And it's very like the hospitality there is perfect. And I really think people that that haven't been to any of our shows should really take a peek. Get a ticket and come one time. I'm sure you're gonna love it. We'll put on a show for you.
I like that. I like that place. It's good. The food's good. The atmosphere is good. It's kid family friendly. Got the best dance floor in Fort Worth, and of course the acoustics are good. The sound system that we put in there is custom made for that hall. You got ample parking. It's a perfect situation. Perfect venue, I think.
Absolutely.
Well, let's talk about what's coming up in a few weeks, because we're about to pack up and head to the Smoky Mountains for a few days.
Yeah.
Are y'all looking forward to our songwriters retreat?
Oh
Yeah.
Have you ever been to the Smokies? Like to the Smoky Mountains? You ever been? No.
You guys went together. Where were you? Man?
Oh my God,
Man.
we did go together.
Yeah, we all went together. Yeah. That was where we came up with Evie Mae.
That's right.
Where have you been?
I'm sorry. I'm just.
Man.
And I knew Evie was a part of the family when she endured the joke-a-thon between me and Kurt trying to outdo each other in some really bad jokes. I mean,
Those were awful. They were so bad.
Evie, I think what it is you schooled him in cornhole. He tried to put it out of his mind.
He's mad. That's why he doesn't remember.
I don't know. Or I just have a really bad memory.
Oh,
hey, Evie and I owned you and your dad. I mean, we had a title on y'all, lock, stock, and barrel. Y'all.
I remember it was pretty close. I'm sorry.
Evie, I don't know about you, but I got kind of sleepy and bored after a while.
Yeah, I know. It gets boring beating them. Like so we're so far ahead of them. Like it just gets boring after a while.
Well, this trash talk is starting to recollect my memory.
You'll notice you thought the sun was in my eyes, but I would close my eyes on purpose just to make it more fair. No, Evie's the one that's a ringer. And when you two get going against each other, it's crazy because y'all just answer each other left and right.
I would like it known that I'm the one that taught Braden how to play cornhole. I'm the reason he is decent. It's me.
You.
Yeah, even Kurt said it's
Is
true.
that true?
Yes, it is.
I'm a good cornhole player.
Yeah, because I taught you.
By God.
Oh my God.
Brayden gets mad when he's falling behind. He tries to change the rules. You know?
Yeah, he does.
I do.
He gets
might
mad. When he gets mad, he gets worse.
I get mad.
Even in the TV show, the pilot episode, which everybody will see in a few weeks, at the very end, if you notice, everybody's done, but Brayden's still trying to play. It ain't over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't be a loser. You know, I gotta keep trying. You gotta keep fighting. You know.
Well, we're gonna have plenty of competition. The whole weekend. It's gonna be 4 days or whatever. We're gonna be doing a lot of cool stuff. We're gonna be writing a lot of songs. We may have some I don't know what you call it. Kurt, help me out if Kurt's still back there, when you got a limited time to come up with a song, maybe as a group, and you split off in groups. You know, who knows what we may do, but we're gonna have fun, and I know we're gonna come away with some great material. And you know, that whole experience, I think will be a really interesting part of maybe one of our episodes of our show.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm on the set.
yeah, you know, I mean, it's exciting because you know you get a whole bunch of different people at different age ranges. You know, we'll have, you know, some that are in their 20s, and then we'll have, you know, some that are, you know, 18, 17, and you know, we'll all get together, or maybe people even older, like Dad, you know, in his 90s. We'll all get together, and we'll all, you know, have a group, and we'll just write a bunch of hit songs. You know what I mean? I mean, there's nothing more fun than just.
Brayden, you're the one that found that place. Did you know what we forgot to check on for that cabin? Does it have ramps for your dad?
Yeah, I thought about that, but I'll just have to carry him, you know. Or Steve, you can carry him. I mean, y'all live in the same room.
He ain't heavy. He's my brother.
Yeah,
That's so wrong. I will tell you this about the Smoky Mountain thing. We are going to take our film crew up there for the TV show, and we're going to film that. And this is going to be on TV. So you guys, whenever, it won't be the first episode, it may be the second, but all of this is going to be on TV, and this is going to be a really fun time because we're going to have, Steve, maybe 8 or 9 of our Clarksville Creative Sound artists will be there. The cast of the show will all be there. Braden, Evie, Jaden, Noah, they'll all be there on the show. And then, of course, we're going to have Mackenzie McKetty and Austin McKetty, and Sienna Rose will be up there with us.
Yep.
So it just ought to be a lot of fun. Yeah. We're going to take 2 sets of cornhole boards up there, and we're going to have tournaments whenever we're not riding. And, of course, Braden and I are going to wax everybody as everybody's.
No, I think me and Braden should be on a team.
Well, if you do, we'll never win.
Nobody's ever.
No one's winning.
We'll never win if they do that.
Well,
it's going to be fun, and I'm looking forward to that
I
trip.
think there's a pool table and a foosball table, so we may just have to have a little mini Olympics or something.
Yeah.
We might have to do that. I
think that sounds fun.
Yeah, I mean, and for people that are, you know, that are gonna tune into the show that we're filming and everything, I mean, you'll really get a good experience about, you know, how it is in the studio, especially with songwriting. I mean, like this second episode or third episode, whatever episode this is gonna be, I mean, it's really gonna take a deep dive into, you know, songwriting and getting together with groups, and it could probably help you a lot if you're, you know, new to writing songs and everything. This could really be a huge breaker for you to, you know, watch and learn about everything, because I'm sure Dad's going to explain it all.
Well, I will tell you this. I've showed the pilot now to about 5 or 6 different people that I really respect in the music industry, and they've all seen the pilot, and they're telling me I've never seen anything like this. This is something people are going to absolutely fall in love with. Because there's never been a show where you see what's going on in the studio, behind the scenes, all the crazy stuff that happens in the studio. It's going to get really good. And so, yeah, I can't wait for this show to come out. It's going to be exciting.
Well, I was talking with Tommy Snyder earlier, actually texting. He's out right now at Ricky Skaggs' place filming. One of the shows that ACN's going to feature is a little 30-minute mini biography on different artists, you know, legends and you know, both, you know, mainstream and the legends of, you know, guys like Ricky Skaggs, who, you know, his major popularity was mainly like in the 90s and early 2000s, but he's still, of course, extremely relevant. And he's probably one of the, if not the most talented musicians out there. The guy can just tear a mandolin up. I know he's he can play just about anything. Is that right, Kurt?
Yeah, that's absolutely the truth. And yeah, I mean, it's you know, and I was just thinking about Brent here while we're talking. I know Brent has started a brand new position at on a new job, and I'm just curious, Brent, how's that going, man? I don't want to change the subject, but I got to know.
Yeah, it's going great, man. We are covering news from coast to coast and doing a lot with wildfires right now, man. There's a lot going on. Like California, especially, is on fire. Northern California, they had a big wildfire that was started a little more than 24 hours ago by a guy who pushed a burning truck into a gully and started a fire that is in 24 hours burned up about 45,000 acres.
Wow.
And
Wow. You know, I'm surprised they've got any wood left to burn. They have fires every day.
Well, I tell you, I was out there about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and at least Northern California is just absolutely a tinderbox. It's nothing but just dry, scrubby grass and trees, and it doesn't take much. There was another fire that started when I was up there that a vehicle lost a wheel, and it caused a spark that went into a field that just set the whole field on fire. So just a lot of it throughout California, Washington, Oregon, Idaho, down into Arizona. And then, of course, in Steve's neck of the wood there in Ruidoso, big fires that then led to floods because so much stuff had been eroded. And that's a big concern with this one in California. So we spend a lot of time just covering things like that and breaking into to programming across the country where there's issues like that. So it's been interesting. It's been good, and all the while still down here trying to find a place to live, trying to get a house sold back home, and a lot going on these days. But
Brent, are you still able to do your Tractors and Troubadours show?
I am. As a matter of fact, we've got one dropping here in about 3 hours. The next episode of that's going to go, I guess, about 2.5 hours now. So
I take it you're still playing some great country music on there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We definitely getting Clarksville Creative Sound on there when we can. We've had a bunch of Clarksville artists on over the past few weeks. So people go to ruralstrongmedia.com and click on Tractors and Troubadours, or go wherever you get your podcast and search it. It's on there. We do a spotlight artist every week, and I always try to get the Clarksville latest releases on there when we can. So
we appreciate it, Brent. You got to show videos on there now. This is just radio, right?
Just podcast and radio. We go to a few radio stations.
Me in a wig, Brent. You know, I don't.
What's that? What's that you say?
I just don't. There I am.
I'm glad you cut out you edited out the part of me putting my hand on his posterior.
Yeah, Steve was kind of touchy-feely there for a while with me. That bothered me a little bit. That's why I came out with one of them covers.
I know.
Well, I had that at the ready when you started talking about the retreat in the Smokies here. But since you bring it up,
yeah.
I thought I'd go ahead and get that over with because I knew you had your finger on that.
So let's get back to Evie and Braden. Have y'all been working on some new songs? Have you done any recording lately or anything? Or
yeah. Oh, I'll let Evie go ahead first.
Yeah, me and Braden, we've been writing a bit, like co-writing some, and then I've been working on some of my own, and then me and Kurt have been writing too. And Braden, I know you just recorded a song.
I sure did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we do some. I do some recordings. Evie does some recordings, and there's one song that I written that's actually going to be on the show. We've probably talked about it on here before.
Yeah.
But I wrote a song and put guitars down on it, and Dad finally got the musicians together to put the whole song together, and it's really nice. I mean, I'm really looking forward to releasing it to everybody out there to listen. On my Instagram, I have a little snippet of it. So if y'all don't follow my Instagram, if you go to my Instagram, it's Braden D. Ryle. It'll have the snippet of the songs. Also has stuff about the upcoming TV shows. I post about that too sometimes. So
one of the great things about the TV show is now we have a platform to really get our music out there to a lot of people, and that viewership will just continue to grow. I think the last count I heard was we're in potentially about 12 million households potentially. Now that doesn't mean that everybody's tuning into every hour, but once we get this programming kicked off, and right now it's, if you go to acncountry.com and you go to, that's the website. If you actually go through the app and tune in to the network, you're going to see probably 90% music videos on a hopper or whatever you want to call it. But they're rapidly creating new original content. Like we got this Katie Cook's Country Countdown. You got, of course, Small Town Sound, which they're considering one of the flagship shows, and there's some other shows. In fact, we talked to one guy about possibly, he's got a great concept, and we may bring him on, and he's going to do like a sitcom that's going to be like a redneck version of Cheers, which would be fun. But as the viewership grows, it's just going to allow us to get our brand of music and what we do and what y'all do, and to people, numbers of people that we never dreamed we'd be able to reach. And that's been our goal since I joined with Kurt, was, how can we get this music? I saw what Kurt was doing, and I saw the quality of music that he was putting out back, 2 years ago when I first met him. I saw the only bad thing here is this music's not being heard by enough people. Well, we're rapidly solving that problem. I think the network's going to be just a really a godsend for that. And so I hope you guys are up for the challenge, because you guys are, I believe, going to be big stars, one day. We couldn't be more excited. So again, I mean, the show's gonna be a way for us to get just to show off our talent and songwriting talent, performing talent. And,
absolutely. I mean, we're super excited. I don't know if I can't speak for you, but I'm sure we're both super excited about the show, and we're super pumped about what this could bring for us for our future. So super excited every day, and that's where I'm asking Dad every day. I'm like, when are we filming the next show? Are we filming? Just be patient. We're filming it soon. And, we're super pumped for it, and we hope y'all are about the same way. When coming to watch the show. So
yeah, well, and the thing is, it's not scripted. It's reality TV, but we have to have some parameters about what we want to accomplish. Like we know that we're going up the Smoky Mountains, and so the episode that probably the next episode will be largely about that experience up there and capturing the essence of that, and not only us working hard and writing music, but at night, it'd be fun to have some jam sessions and everybody just sit down and just with their guitars. Maybe Mackenzie brings her fiddle. I might even bring my Bob Dylan harmonicas.
Right.
We'll just have fun with it, and that, and then of course the playtime. You got to take a break every once in a while. And Evie, you and I got to go out and give Braden and Curtis thrashing on the cornhole, and all that.
Oh yeah.
Well, we'll see about that, right, Dad? Yeah, we'll see about that.
But no shortage of ideas about what we can feature, what we can cover in that show. But mainly, that show kind of writes itself as we all progress down this road and evolve as artists and a record label.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. Hey, don't want this to get away from us here. We got our friend Billy Bowles, Billy Bowles Swinging Country, chiming in to remind everybody that Steve Marquardt is going to be the special guest a week from the Saturday, August 3rd, on Billy Bowles Swinging Country. So everybody tune into that KSSLFM.com. If you're not in the Lubbock or South Plains area, but if you are, make sure you turn on KSSL and check out Billy Bowles Swinging Country from 10 to noon Central Time, and you'll hear Steve Marquardt on there.
Yeah, Billy and I are going to do a special thing. We're going to have a debate, kind of like the presidential debate. We're going to debate on which Carlito salsa is the best. That's one of his major sponsors. If y'all have never tried Carlito's, I'm giving them a push here. That's the best salsa. I don't know if you can get it up there in Tennessee. If not, I'll ship you.
You can actually, because that was the first thing I did when I was scouting around here. Was went into Kroger, and that's where they carry it. They only have original on the shelves in Kroger, but you can get it, and it's very good. So yeah, absolutely, it's got my endorsement for sure. It's the only kind of I enjoy. So
Kylitos, might have to try that.
Kylitos, Kylitos, apostrophe. They have about 10 or 12 different flavors, all the way from mild to spicy to hot to. They've got a ghost pepper, scary hot. That,
really?
Will just. I mean, if you eat some of that, then for about 3 days, every food you eat tastes like rubber. I mean, it just blows out your taste buds.
I might have to try that. That's right up my alley. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can't find it up there, you should be able to.
I think they got it at Kroger, and I think some Walmarts have it as well. So you may
have a limited selection, but just you grab what you can and try it, and let us know what you think about it. But Kylitos is local right there in the Lubbock area. I think there's a Hispanic family that started out. I think the husband was working on some manufacturing thing or something. I don't know what he was doing, but or construction crew, and he was bringing his homemade food to eat for lunch, and all of his buddies started sampling his homemade salsa that his wife made. And next thing you know, they were wanting to buy it from him. So his wife got into actually packaging all that and just selling it to friends. And the next thing you know, now they got a major distribution company, and they're selling that stuff all over the United States. So
think about what an entrepreneurial coup that is, to be able to get that product on the shelf in Walmarts and in Kroger's. That's incredible.
It is.
And that they take up a nice little bit of store shelf, and I'm sure they don't ship a whole lot to each location, but it gets a little hard to find sometimes, because what is there seems to move quicker than some of the other brands around it. So I think that should tell you something about it. And
well, we all need to support Kylitos because they support Billy Bowles.
That's right.
Shows like Billy Bowles Swinging Country are absolutely essential I don't like to say keeping this music alive. I think this music's alive and well,
right.
And the pulse is really strong and getting stronger. Don't y'all agree? This the traditional country genre. I mean, I think we're swinging back around to that even in the mainstream. You're seeing the song styles changing. You're seeing either them coming back to the more traditional country sound, but also, and I'm excited about this, the Southern rock stuff is kind of coming in too, like the Marshall Tuckers, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's a song out right now. I mean, it's viral. Everybody's listening to it. It's called "You Look Like You Love Me" by Ella Langley and Riley Green.
Yeah,
that song. I mean, if you listen to it, I mean, it'll bring you back. I mean, it's just like, and everyone's listening to it. I mean, I feel like that type of music is coming back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's hitting the millions. I mean, just take a listen to it. "You Look Like You Love Me," Ella Langley, Riley Green. I mean, it's a great, amazing traditional country song.
Well, and I think the challenge for us, we've got an opportunity, guys. I'm telling you, with the powerhouse talent that we've got, you guys included in Clarksville Creative Sound, coupled with the opportunity we have as a part of the American Country Network, we've got the opportunity to kind of help steer the music where we want it to go to an extent.
Right.
And that's a major responsibility, but I think it's exciting too, because there's no better facility and production house and no better producer than Kurt and Clarksville Creative Sound. No question about it. Evidence of that is the more our music gets out there, the more people take the trek from Nashville or sometimes Canada or wherever and bang on Kurt's door. A lot of times, I'm amazed is a lot of people show up unannounced and just.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
they do.
Time out though. What's going on back there?
Are we doing a table dance? What's he doing?
I don't know what he was doing. He was doing something. I think he was trying to fix the light or something. But no, Steve's right. I mean, Dad gets so busy that his schedule is packed, and I'll come downstairs and I'll see a new person coming. I'll be like, I've never seen that person before, and it's just people just come in unannounced, and they get work.
We were talking about that at dinner the other night. It's not like he's on Music Row. I mean, the guy's in a residential neighborhood in Clarksville, Tennessee, and these people just seem to find their way to the doorstep.
You know
Crazy.
what? When we
Oh, go ahead.
go ahead, Evie.
Speaking of, when I was driving here today, just a little bit ago, there's always like wildlife here, and I passed 9 deer on my way here. They were all standing together, and there were like 4 of them that still had spots on them.
Well, you know what? The deer, from what I understand, the deer were all standing there watching you, and they were telling each other, "Look at that wildlife."
Yeah.
Anyway, no, our whole mission in the very beginning when we rebranded to Clarksville Creative Sound was to create a kind of that same, like the Muscle Shoals and the Bakersfield. You know, there was a sound coming out of that studio that y'all are sitting in that I recognized as something really special. You know, and that's why we say as where the magic happens. And that was our goal when your dad and I came up with that idea to brand it as Clarksville Creative Sound, to make Clarksville a destination, you know, apart from Nashville. And I think it's happening. I mean, it's obvious.
Right.
Yesterday, I think, yesterday we had a lady come in that Kurt had never met. She came in, had some songs that she wanted to get just some basic tracks done on and some vocals, songwriter. And she was just a killer songwriter.
Yeah.
We're probably going to bring her in to be a regular addition. She's kind of she fills a void that we don't really have in terms of a style of song that she can write, because she can go the pop direction as well.
Right.
So like somebody like Jaden could really benefit, or we all can. But she's a great songwriter, so you just never know, you know. And I think as time goes on, and the studio and the label and our artists get more notoriety, it's just the level of talent that's going to cross our paths. It's just going to be amazing. And that's going to be I'm looking forward to that adventure. You know, you never know who's going to walk in next. And that's part of the essence of our show. You know, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, I think the other part of that is all that hard work is starting to bear out in all these charts, all the independent music charts that we see, because they are absolutely dominated these days by Clarksville Creative Sound.
Yeah, they're doing great. I mean, last time I checked, I think we had, what was it, seven of our artists on, was it top 7? I guess top 10. Wow. I mean, that's really good. You know what I mean? And super proud of everybody. I mean, they have great songs, singing great songs. I mean, they deserve it. So
100%.
Evie, how many songs off your recent album have you released?
5.
5. Okay. Well, the last one you released was what? I can't remember.
My Kind of Red.
My Kind of Red. Yeah, that's an awesome song.
That's the song that my album's named from.
And you haven't released Pass Me On By yet, have you?
No, not yet. That's next.
That's kind of your anthem.
Yeah.
Remember when I called the studio and talked to you and Kurt, and I said, Evie, you need to, that's your brand. So y'all need to write a song that personifies you. And boy, y'all nailed it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it does a pretty good job of saying who I am.
Yeah. Well, that and My Kind of Red are kind of a 1-2 punch, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're both kind of anthems.
Oh, and then I also have another song that'll be coming out fairly soon with the TV show. Not a part of the album. It's called No Hands on the Wheel, and it'll be featured on the TV show in the pilot episode.
Yeah,
and then
rumor has it that you almost didn't get to cut that song.
I know. Jaden almost stole it from me. But yeah, Kurt and Carrie Romero actually wrote that song for me. And it's probably one of my favorites yet. You
know, and so that's a great story. We can talk more about that after this show comes out, so everybody gets a better context. But that's a good example of how I think as a label and as fellow artists under the CCS umbrella, how we're all are each other's best cheerleaders, and
right.
I want you guys, especially you young guys, y'all, you don't let ego get in the way. And I've seen it over and over again. Y'all are about what's best for the label as a whole. And so when Carrie came in, that song that she and Kurt sat down and wrote was originally for her. And Kurt said, all of a sudden, they're looking at the song, they're saying, wow, this is a great song. And Carrie got real quiet. And Kurt can tell the story better than I can because he was there. Is Kurt back there?
Yeah.
Kurt?
Yeah, actually, you're right.
Tell that story about, because Carrie all of a sudden realized that wasn't her song.
Well, it was actually Carrie's idea. She was looking at the song after we'd written it, and we laid down a guitar track on it, had a little work tape, and she looked at me and she said, "This is for Evie Mae. This is the perfect song for Evie." And I absolutely, a light went off in my head, and I was like, "You bet it is." And I got to tell you something else. Just last week, Evie came in here. I called Evie and I said, "Evie, I've got about an hour. Do you want to write?" And she was like, "Yes." And I mean, that's what I love about these kids. If they're available, they're here, and they don't waste any time. And she came in, and she and I wrote one of the best songs, I think, one of the better songs that I've been a part of. And I don't know, I can't speak for Evie, but I think it's a great song. And we kind of looked at each other, and Evie said, "I think this is a better song for Jaden." And I had to agree with her. And I said, it's kind of pop. It's a little more pop country, and Evie's a little bit more traditional. And we decided, this is probably a song for. That's what I love about these kids. They help each other and they write for each other. It's just amazing. I've never seen a team like this before, where they're totally unselfish, guys. It's really, really a blessing. What we have at Clarksville Creative Sound. I've never seen this at any other label anywhere.
Well, and I think this time period right now is so crucial, and so we're going to look back and remember these days. And so, it's important that we all stay awake and aware of the present moment and what we're on the cusp of accomplishing here, and the opportunities that I know are going to be ahead of us. But only if we all manage it well and we're good stewards of what God has given us. I mean, there's no question that this is all divine. I mean, Kurt and I and Tommy Snyder, but we all, and Brent as well, we all talk about, you cannot get from where we all individually came from to form this collective group without a divine hand. There's no way. It just doesn't. It defies logic.
Right.
And I think anything that lays outside of our synthetic scope of knowledge, or that you cannot nail down with human logic, perhaps that falls in the miracle category. I don't know, because in God's world, anything's possible, and I've seen it over and over again, and I see it every day in what we put together, and we all just remind each other, even though sometimes it's difficult to do because we have this thing called the ego that we stumble over. It, it's so important that we all take the high road at every turn.
Well, I've not seen ego on this label anywhere. In fact, Steve, I was thinking about this today. I remember the meeting we had with ACN Network, the first meeting we had about our TV show. And we had envisioned a variety show, kind of like Hee Haw, something like that. And I had this thing all mapped out in my head. This is what it was going to be. And then all of a sudden, the producer comes in, the TV producer, and a couple of guys on the network, and just started talking to me and asking me questions. Well, what have you done? Who have you worked with? And I told them, all the people I've worked with. And this one guy goes, "You need to be the show. You're the guy that needs to be working on the show, and you need to be working with these kids." And immediately I felt just like I was totally offended by that. Almost, I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be any part of this. I really wanted it to be for the kids. But Steve, after we got out of there, Steve talked to me for about an hour on the way home, and he said, "Kurt, this is something you need to do. This is a blessing." And he basically kind of talked me into doing it. And now looking at it now, I feel that it was the right thing to do. I don't think a variety show would have worked today like it did back then. And this reality thing really made it all come to life. So I'm just happy that everybody on this label, I've never heard anybody go, "Well, I don't get more talking parts of the show," or "I don't get this or that." I don't hear that. I just hear people out here really working together, and they love each other. It's obvious they do. And this is going to work. This has all got God's hands all over it.
Now, I remember telling you, Kurt, the very fact that you are fighting, being the center of the nucleus of this show is the very reason why you have to be, because, that means, your ego's not like thrusting you out front saying, and we're all not sitting here fighting for who's going to be the star of the show. There are no stars of the show. The show itself just allows, it's a perfect vehicle and the perfect scenario to let all of us, let the story be told in a very natural, realistic way, because it is real TV, reality TV. And the story is, for the viewer is, because I don't think anybody's ever done anything like this, going in depth into a recording studio, the life of an independent artist who's aspiring, climbing the ladder, and what it takes to not only write music, produce music, perform music, but what it takes discipline wise. It's not, if you want to make it in the music business, there's a lot of sacrifices that you have to undergo. And not only sacrifices for the artists themselves, but as y'all know, the family. I mean, Evie, your family sacrifices a lot. We see it. They rally around you. When they knew that your career was really going somewhere, what did they do? They picked up from their hometown of Jasper, Indiana, and moved to Clarksville so they could be closer to Kurt in the studio. And that's just awesome. And then you got like Jaden Riley and her family, who's been flying in from Toronto, Canada for years. And when they fly in, the whole family comes in and they converge. And I think Jaden's sister, Devin, maybe deserves a Purple Heart, because she's been real patient and real supportive as well. I never see her going, she's getting more attention than I am. She buys into the whole thing too, about this is Jaden's time, and we need to support her. And Tara and Colin have done a great job, I'm sure, I'm sure Devin does not feel neglected one bit. She could be a stand-up comedian, I think.
Well, I also want to say one of the things, Steve, when we're talking about people on the show and how they work together, you may be the poster boy for somebody who does not show an ego. And what I mean by that is, we started this show was going to be you and I, Steve, doing a variety show, and we're going to bring our artists on. And all of a sudden, I'm thrust right in the middle of this thing. I'm kind of the guy that's in the middle of the show, running these kids, working with these kids. And Steve comes in and sits down on the couch, and the TV producer says, "You can't be on the set," And immediately I'm thinking, "Wait a minute, this guy is like." And Steve was like, "No," but I made sure that they understood. We're bringing you in on the next episode, bro. But Steve, you've been such a team player through this thing too, man. And I just want you to know, I appreciate that.
Well, look, this is I try to practice self-awareness at every turn, and I know what my ego can do. Just let me grab a hold of some little victory, some little win, or let me think too much about maybe money I might have made on one of my investments, and watch what my ego does with it. So I constantly have to be awake and aware and mindful of that. As one of my spiritual mentors used to say, your ego is not your amigo, right? And so it was an interesting observation of self and just everything going on around me when you and I left Nashville that day after meeting with ACN that first time, and we determined that you were going to be the center of that show, because part of my ego was saying, I want to be the center of the show, and it was like watching a little kid acting up, and you can't do that, from it's kind of, you have to be kind of in a spiritual awakened realm. Now I'm getting real philosophical here, so I'll back it up a little bit, but and real quick, and I'm sure it was God saying, Steve, this is the main reason that you don't need to be the center of that show is because you want to so badly. And then here's Kurt saying, I don't want this. And that's why Kurt needs to be the center of the show. So
well, in all honesty, I just didn't want my natural beauty to overshadow these kids. And
God, he sounds just like his son, doesn't he? Sounds just like.
I wonder where Braden got it from.
No, these kids, you guys, you guys are so talented, and here's the thing too, shifting gears a little bit. A lot of people think they want to do this music thing and they want to be an artist and they want to make it, they want to be a star. What kid hasn't probably at some point stood in front of the mirror and lip synced to to whoever, and I mean, I used to do that. I used to lip sync to all kinds of stuff, and fantasize about being on a stage at a stadium and all that, and there's a lot of kids that actually can sing pretty well. And now that karaoke is kind of mainstream, there's a lot of people, every day I get people sending me videos. Hey, I just heard this girl singing karaoke. Y'all need to bring her in the studio and record her. I'm like, okay, but there's a huge difference between there's a lot of talented people in that regard, but I'm telling you, there's a hard line between those people and people like you two that were literally born to do this.
Well, Stephen, not only that, the work that goes into this, it is work. It's hard work. It can be fun. We try to make it as fun as we can. But listen, man, it's not all glimmer and glamour like people think it is. There's a lot of work. Braden and Evie can tell you both. They get in the studio and it can be a grind.
I mean, I got to deal with this guy every day. I mean, come on. You know what I mean? You gotta
he's got to deal with you too now that you're developing your own opinions. And
they're just alike. So they're like dealing with themselves.
We're like brothers.
Yeah.
Except one's 90.
I'm trying.
I love it though, because then Braden, and you'll see it in the show, Braden will just arbitrarily look up and say, "I love you, Dad." It's like, what a dork, No, I think it's awesome. Everybody should have that relationship. My daughter and I have that kind of relationship. But she can also make me want to pull my hair out sometimes too.
Well, I gotta be honest with you. Doing this, working with these kids. When Braden was a little younger, he's grown out of it now. But he used to come to me and he'd go, "Dad, I think you like Jaden more than me, or I think you like Evie more than I mean, he was a little jealous of some of that stuff back in the day because I treat them like they're all my own. But Braden's just become a real trooper. I gotta admit, he's come a long way.
Kurt, how are those negotiations going with Farron about trading Braden for Evie?
Well, Farron's not going to go with it, and I don't blame him. But I will tell you this band that we are putting together, you guys were talking about it a while ago. Farron is going to be the bass player in this band, and we're putting together a good group of musicians. I got some studio players that are going to be coming in on this thing. This band is going to be second to none. So when we start doing shows, these kids are going to get a lot of good experience out there, and they're going to have a hell of a band behind them. So,
what are you going to call this band?
Huh?
What are you going to name this band?
I don't know, but I'm seriously considering naming it the Clarksville Creative Sound Band. I just think
say something funny.
I just think it represents what we're doing. And,
I think you should shorten it to the CCS.
Maybe CCS.
I like redheaded Asians. That's
Creedence Clearwater Survival.
Yeah, there you go.
Survival.
I like that.
Not revival.
We may need to think about that. How about the? Well, we have to think about that.
Yeah, so it's one you got to.
I'll leave that one to you, Steve.
Few months ago,
you're the branding guy.
A few months ago, me and Braden tried to come up with some band names, and it didn't go too well.
Yeah. What did y'all come up with?
I don't even remember it. Some of them were really,
Apple Valley and.
Yeah, some of them are really bad.
It's really stupid.
Like Oakwood trees.
Oakwood trees.
Something
revival or whatever. Yeah. I don't even know. Like we got nowhere with that one.
The cornhole combo. No, just kidding.
Yeah. That's what some of them sounded like. They were bad.
Well, then the main picture will be, as people will see when they see our TV show in the very intro, there's Kurt wearing that, I call it a wife beater shirt, that shirt.
He's wearing it now.
No, I'm talking about the one he was wearing in the intro.
The blue one.
He was flexing his muscles.
The blue one.
It was multicolored. It looked like, I said, Kurt, did you just pick up a bath mat and put it on? What the heck?
Braden told me that was a good shirt to wear.
I sure did.
And man, I got there look stupid in that.
That's some funny stuff right there.
That ain't gonna happen.
That's some funny stuff right there.
I think he went to the store and bought that shirt and like.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
There it is. Look at it. Look at that face. He's like.
And he's flexing.
He's
too.
growling at you.
I am not flexing. Those are natural muscles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right.
By the way, Kurt, I got a call from Martin Guitars, and they said we will pay you $100,000 to Photoshop our name off of that.
That's not where I thought you were going with that. That's not all that funny, Steve.
That was pretty funny, Steve. I like that joke.
That's
I
called.
thought you were going to say the 70s called and they want their rugs back or something.
No, I
like
know. Hey, but for Kurt, for your age, you're still rocking some guns there. Those arms, you still.
Better believe it. And I'm not that old. I don't know why y'all keep calling me old. I ain't old, man.
Well, you can be like my dad. My dad with Braden. My dad, when I would smart off to him, he'd put his fist. He go, I still got one more left in me, boy. One more.
Yeah, that's right.
Dad doesn't look a day over 69. I'm just kidding, Dad.
So mean.
I'm honestly, I will say though, that you look really good.
What do you want? He wants money now. I know.
Can I have money?
No, you can't. Shut up.
Yes.
I'm gonna get off the set here. And
Hey,
leave
hold
you
on,
guys.
before
We're about to the end of the hour, so we need to wind it down. Any last thoughts or words, Braden? You're looking like you're just ready to.
Yeah, I just want to let everyone know. All right, you see this on his face right here? This little goatee he's got here. That was my idea. I told him to grow that out. Tell me he doesn't look. He looks darn fancy, doesn't he?
Yes.
Look at him.
Well, you want to kiss me?
No, I'm just trying to help my father.
All right.
No, you told me that you thought anything that my dad can use to cover his face is a good thing.
Yeah,
That's
man.
exactly what he
All
was
right.
thinking.
That's what I'm saying.
He's trying to get me to grow a whole beard.
That's right. I want him to grow that little Duck Dynasty stuff, where it starts hanging down.
Connect the sideburns
There
too.
you go. Yeah.
Yeah. The problem is Kurt won't keep that beard up, and then I won't even have to ask him where he had lunch. I'll say, "Oh, I see you went to Mission Barbecue."
Saving it for later.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm getting off the set.
Any last parting words, Evie?
What?
Any parting words as we wind this one down?
To buy tickets to the show in Fort Worth that Steven was talking about earlier.
Thank you.
And then also download ACN and keep a lookout for Small Town Sound because it'll be coming soon.
Yeah, I think by next week we'll be ready to announce the actual premiere date of the show. I know we've got a primetime slot, which that's great. Very generous of the network, but I think they firmly believe this will be one of the defining shows for the network. And then, of course, once the show premieres, it'll be available on that app for rebroadcast on demand, I believe. At some point, they'll archive all those shows, eventually. So at some point, you'll be able to go in and watch the whole, kind of like you do with Netflix. You'll be able to binge watch. Imagine people wanting to binge watch us, right?
Oh God.
Yeah. At one time.
Well, thank y'all for spending your evening at least an hour with us, and especially you, Evie, for coming over and doing that. And sorry for the mix-up on the times. And where's Farron? Is he back there?
Yeah, he's back here. Okay, I guess he's not gonna.
He said hello.
He did. He waved.
Yes, he did.
He did wave.
He said howdy.
Howdy. He had said howdy, partner.
We're looking forward to seeing y'all up in the Smoky Mountains. That's going to be a fun trip, and so that'll be great. So
yeah, it'll be fun.
Sure will.
All right, Brent.
All right. Well, I tell you what, thank you to everybody who joined us today. We've had a nice crowd here. Thank you for everybody who chimed in on the comments section. We appreciate you checking in here. A lot of good folks here. And those are the people that are going to be binge watching, Steve. All of our loyal viewers who show up here and check us out. Make sure you follow that Musical Expeditionaries page on Facebook. We'll put a link on the Fort Worth Musical Moments Facebook group because some people said we don't even know how to spell Expeditionaries. What are you guys doing? So we'll bring you along slowly here so we can get you hooked up here. We got to get that page up and get the viewers up so we can start streaming directly to it, and this thing will pick up some steam here, and we're gonna. As our time allows over the next few weeks, build this thing back up and get going and get back on a regular rotation, Steve, and get some more guests on here and have some fun.
That's right. Yeah, the Musical Expeditionaries thing was kind of an idea because we're always talking. I'm one of those big expeditionaries myself, where I get hooked on an artist, and then I want to know who influenced them and who influenced their influencers, and pretty soon I'm running down these rabbit trails. Right. But in doing so, you discover all these people that you otherwise may not have discovered, and so I love that. I was watching a documentary the other night called Winding Stream about the Carter family, and what they said was something really interesting. They said when the Carter family up in Appalachia, up in the mountains, encountered, and I can't remember the guy's name. Billy Bowles probably knows who it is, but there's a guy that was just traveling around with a mobile recording device. And back then they captured the recording on a wax cylinder, and he had a megaphone. It was before the advent of electronic microphones, so they sang into this big horn, and he was just going around just recording different people playing on their front porch or whatever. He happened to record the Carter family, and that was, they call that the Big Bang of country music.
Well, they actually went to a warehouse, in Bristol, Tennessee, is where that was, and the Carters trekked down there, as did Jimmy Rogers and a bunch of other artists, and had like a 3-day recording session there, and that became kind of the basis for country music. And they put up blankets for acoustics, and it was very, very lo-fi, low tech, but the recordings that came out of that, and there was a great album that was released here back in 2015. Carl Jackson produced that, actually, and there's interludes between each of the songs that were narrated by Eddie Stubbs, who used to be the legendary DJ on WSM. If you ever get a chance, go find that album. It's absolutely phenomenal. And Vince Gill's on there, Dolly Parton, Keb Mo, a bunch of just phenomenal artists, Brad Paisley, and they cover a lot of these songs here, and it's a phenomenal album, and it really delves into the history of that whole 3-day recording session.
Well, the song that emerged as their first hit, don't you, from those sessions?
Was it Sunny Side?
No, it's Single Girl, Married Girl.
Oh, I did not know that.
So Sarah Carter hated that song. Well, she didn't hate it. They recorded it. They were messing around, and that was just a song they wanted to warm up on. But she said, that song was considered extremely risque at that time.
Right.
And gosh, I wish I could remember the guy's name that was actually producing that.
Yeah, Ralph Peers,
Ralph Peer, yeah. So Ralph Peer caught all of that, and he pressed that into distribution, and that thing just took off, and it sold, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of copies. It was crazy. That was their first big hit, and it just blew Sarah Carter and what's her husband's name at that time? Something Carter, LP Carter, AP Carter. I don't know.
AP Carter. Yep.
And so that was their first deal, and you listen to it because it's all about single girl. Anyway, interesting stuff. So Braden and Evie, if you ever want to really get an idea of where country music, was born, watch that documentary on Netflix called The Winding Stream. It's really interesting. So anyway, but
we digress.
That's where my expeditionary efforts have taken me. And Billy Bowles and I have a lot of conversations about, have you heard this? Have you heard that? Well, so-and-so recorded this before that guy did, and blah, blah, blah. And Billy does a lot of that kind of educational presentation on his show, which is why his show is so popular and why it's so important. Billy's a true scholar when it comes to that kind of thing, and a wealth of knowledge there. And so, and we can't ever forget, that part of the whole music genre, the history of it, and who originated, these things. So, so that's kind of our idea on the musical expeditionary thing. I think eventually we may want to branch off and do some reaction videos and stuff like that, which seem to be real popular as
well. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we could do some on the Big Bang of country music.
You never know. Maybe some of these kids need to react to some of that stuff.
Right. There you go.
Open them up a little bit, and then they can show us some of the stuff that they listen to, and we get to react to that too. Broaden our horizons, right?
That's right. That's right.
So in closing, I want to remind everybody that we got our show on August 16th at National Hall. Myself, the A-List band. These are great players. world-class musicians. We got Carl Vaughn, who's going to be front and center. And then we're going to have a few other guests that'll pop in. You never know who might come up on stage, but it's going to be a full night from 7 to who knows when, that Friday evening, the 16th at National Hall. So come out. There's discount codes. If you go to the eventbrite.com, and then just type in my name, Steve Markward, you'll find it right there. Steve Markward and the A-List Band featuring Carl Vaughn. There's several areas where you can get discounts on the ticket. I'm not so much about the revenue as I am about packing the hall. I just want to get as many people in the hall as possible and help pay the bills a little bit in doing so. Ticket prices are very reasonable. They're $20 at the most. And of course, some of these codes allow you to get at least 25, maybe more % off on those tickets. So come out and bring the family, bring the kids. You don't have to hire a babysitter. Bring them out. We're kid friendly. It'll be a lot of fun. Then I also want to remind everybody that coming around the bend real quickly, something we'll all be involved in that's the birthplace of Western Swing Festival in November. What is it, 7th, 8th, and 9th? Is that right?
Yep, coming up quickly.
Coming up quickly, and that's going to be to me. That's the premier Western Swing Festival. You know, I mean. You can look at Turkey, Texas as kind of the Super Bowl, but that's more like going back to Mecca. But I'm telling you, the weekend that my brother puts on, that festival he puts on, is just there's no better planned and more action-packed festival. 3 days that if you're a Western swing or traditional country music fan, it's in fact you go and by the time you get back home you'll have to crash and burn for a day or so because there's so much going on. We've got 12 bands, at least 12 bands. There's a band coming out of Italy, Rome, Italy. And these folks play Western swing. Let's see, they're called the Mary Lee and Caesar's Cowboys, and they come on at noon on Friday. But you got Dave Alexander, who's just a hoot. I mean, you talk about a lively group and great showmanship. You got Robert Houston, Western Swing Rules, our good friend Robert Houston, who's a scholar. And a major contributor to the documentary film. He's coming on at 5:30. And they blow the roof off the place. And then you got the great Jake Hooker and his dad Tommy Hooker at 8:30 closing out Thursday night. And Friday you got a whole day worth of events: Stockyards Tour, Cattle Drive. You got the second rodeo is where Mary Lee and Caesar's Cowboys, the Italian folks, are going to be performing, and that you don't want to miss that. You got Landon Dodd, our friend Landon Dodd. He's going to be coming in at 3, 5 o'clock. We got a Veterans Day honor guard. We always want to pay homage to our great country. We're all patriots in that way. And then yours truly and the A-List Band, and we're going to try to get some of these youngins down there for that, so they can not only show off their talents to the crowd, but they can also take in the whole experience of it's just like Western swing on overdrive. And then closing out Friday night is Jody Nixon, the Texas Cowboys. And then Saturday, my brother's landmark documentary, 2-hour documentary film, The Birth and History of Western Swing, which is just, I can't get, every time I watch it, I see something new in there. There's so much in that film. It's just fantastic. I put it up against any Ken Burns documentary. In fact, I think that film one day soon you'll probably see an announcement that it's going to be premiered nationwide on a syndicated basis through PBS, which is what they do with the Ken Burns film. So that's a compliment in and of itself that PBS believes that it's of that caliber. And then you've got Bessie Smith tribute. And so there's a musical expeditionary example because when Milton Brown was performing in Fort Worth at a house party the night Bob Wills happened to walk in there in a chance meeting, Milton Brown was not singing country music. He was singing Louis Armstrong, and he was singing a Bessie Smith song. Bessie Smith was an old blues singer, blues and folk singer from back in the 20s. And when Bob Wills heard Milton Brown's voice, he said, "I got to join with this guy." And they came together and melded their two types of Bob Wills and his fiddle music, Milton Brown and his more sophisticated jazz and blues. And those two coming together was the Big Bang event that birthed the Western swing genre that we know today. So pretty cool stuff. And then you got the Western Flyers. They're a fantastic. All these groups are top notch. These are the premier Western swing and traditional country bands out there working today. The great Billy Mata, who's just one of my favorites because he, like me, is a crooner at heart. And love his stuff. And then you got Bob Wills and the Texas Playboys, Bob Wills Texas Playboys band under the direction of Jason Roberts, and then Katie Shore is going to be a special guest. Katie played fiddle for years with Ray Benson and Asleep at the Wheel, and she's a good friend. Then at 9:30, a real treat, somebody that we've gotten to be really good friends with. And Brent, you spent an hour or so talking with him and interviewing him in our green room last year. So now that's Junior Brown. What a cool guy he is. Yeah. He's kind of got his own genre of music, I think. Almost.
I'm hoping we can do that again this year, because I think we just scratched the surface with what we did last time.
Yeah, and Junior didn't feel that good. He kind of had a cold working there, so he wasn't at his top of his game. We should get Junior and his wife Tanya, because Tanya is kind of the nuts and bolts that kind of the glue that keeps that whole thing together. Behind every star is a great support person, and boy, she is. She's rock solid too on that guitar. So anyway, birthplace of Western Swing.com is where you get those tickets. Those tickets are going fast, but there's still some available. So we encourage everybody to buy their tickets and plan on taking that whole thing in. You will love it.
Absolutely. I endorse that wholeheartedly. Make sure you get all your tickets. Get there in August, get there in November, and be sure to check in with us again here. We're going to be doing these every Thursday night as time allows here, and get some other guests on here and start going down some of those rabbit trails that Steve was talking about here, and just exploring different genres of music and different artists and the stories behind the songs and all that good stuff. So make sure you check back in with us here and tell a friend about it, and let's continue to grow this thing. So for Evie Mae and Braden Ryle down in Clarksville, Tennessee, and Steve being lit up by the twinkling lights of the Fort Worth skyline, it's Brent Adams here in Nashville, Tennessee. We'll see you next time. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.